Good evening, YouTube folks everywhere, and we are ready to jump right in, so let's go. Good evening, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight I'll be working off the flagship 675 machine, but we are linked in with the following repeaters: Lookout Mountain, Blue Ridge, Somerville, McDonough, Noonan, Moreland, Columbus, Jersey, Crawford, Zebulon, and the VoIP server known as Zello. Tonight our RF coverage is approximately 56,000 square miles. But our coverage is worldwide with the miracle of VoIP. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin, and I'm located here at Studio B in Woodstock, Georgia. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear about. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. At this time, I will acknowledge all of our early check-ins. I'm going to go through them fast, so hang on. Gainesville 285 CV in Murrayville, as well as Gainesville 286 Lynn in Murrayville. I have Atlanta 403 Bobby in White County. Atlanta 750 Jeff in Waleska. Atlanta 810 John in Dawsonville. Atlanta 810 and a half John in Dawsonville. And Atlanta 811 Victoria in Dawsonville. I bet you thought I was going to say John again. Atlanta 253 Donald in Blairsville. Atlanta 420 William in Roswell. Gainesville 120 Emmeline in Murrayville and by relay. Gainesville 117 Damon in Murrayville. Atlanta 285 Zach in Dallas. Atlanta 434 Ron in Cumming. Atlanta 57 Andrew in Holly Springs. Atlanta 1402 Todd in Cumming. I'm not sure if Todd's in and out or in or out or back and forth, or I just know that it's supper time, and I had ribs for dinner, and you know, dinner's important, so we'll just let it go with that. I've got Atlanta 948 Gary in Woodstock. He's probably also having dinner. He's in and out. I've got McDonough 22 Tim, who has apparently finished his dinner. Atlanta 42 Andre in Winder is in and out. I bet he's having dinner. CW45 Ruff in Danielsville. I've got you in tonight, Ruff. I've got Noonan 45 EJ in Noonan in tonight. And I've got a whole slew of in and outs coming up right here. I've got Atlanta 538 Rob incoming, in and out, as well as by relay Atlanta 539 Carol. She doesn't know she's in the log, but I think Rob will tell her. He might not. Carol's in and out. Gainesville 417 William in Auburn, in and out. McDonough 39 Bruce in Stockbridge, in and out. Thank you, Bruce, for your check-in. Atlanta 532 Tom in Flowery Branch. Good to hear from you, Tom, in and out. Atlanta 780 Houston in Powder Springs. And I've got Chattanooga 69 Ronnie on the Lookout Mountain machine. I've got you marked in and out, Ronnie. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Let me break. All right, YouTube. I remembered the cough button. Okay, so those are the early bird check-ins. We've got a pretty good list, and I appreciate all the early bird check-ins who worked with me tonight to slow the pace down a little bit and work past my shortfall of fat fingers and slow keyboarding and mistypes and all of that. So with that, Net Control will stand by for any additional check-ins, any repeater, anywhere.
This is Atlanta 20 WRB 320, checking in and out. WRCU 796, Marty.
This is Atlanta 795, Blair and Tucker.
This is Darbury RMC 8252. Chad, Emerson, Georgia, checking in. Atlanta 252.
Gotcha, Shad.
This is WRM8799, Atlanta 312, Stacy Emerson checking in.
This is Atlanta 721, WRKT 728, David. Southwest Paulding, checking in. Good evening, Justin.
This is Atlanta 286, WROZ 528, Robert from Dallas, in and out.
This is Atlanta 128, WRPE 310, checking in tonight.
This is Atlanta 739, Glenn and Kent, checking in.
All right. Well, we have already... No, not quite. We're close. We're close to running out of room on the live stream screen. One more check-in, I think, is about all that the folks at home are going to be able to read. But let's go ahead and acknowledge what we have here. So right off the bat, I have Atlanta 20. I think that was... looks like that is Zach from Kingston. Let me see if I can get that in here real quick. Good. My fingers are working. Also heard Noonan 39, Marty and Tyrone. Good to hear from you, Marty and Zach. I heard 795, Blair and Tucker. Great to have you on the air tonight. I heard Atlanta 252, Shad in Emerson, and Atlanta 312, Stacy, also in Emerson. Shad and Stacy, you sound good tonight. Glad to hear you sounding healthy. I hope that you're feeling as good as you sound and that all of that is behind us. So good stuff. Atlanta 721, David in Southwest Paulding. I've got you in the log. Atlanta 286, Robert in Dallas. I've got you in and out, Robert. Atlanta 128. Atlanta 128. I think that is Drew in Dawsonville. Let me see if I can just put that in there. Even if it's wrong, that's what I'm putting in here. So Atlanta 128. Drew in Dawsonville, I've got you in tonight. And Atlanta 739, Glenn in Canton, I've got you in tonight. That's what I've heard so far. Do we have any additional check-ins for the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net? Net Control standing by.
This is Atlanta 1107, John, Marietta, Georgia.
WRS 496, Ben in Woodstock. is Atlanta 412 WRKA 361. Figured you might need a break, Justin. Checking in and checking out.
All right, let's see if we can figure out what we've got going on here. I think I heard Atlanta 1107, John in Marietta. Thank you, John, for your check-in. Atlanta 486, Ben in Woodstock. Got you in the log here, Ben. Chattanooga 100, Bob in Ringgold. And I didn't spell that correctly. There's 2 G's in Ringgold, is there not? Maybe I did spell it right. For some reason, I think there's 2 G's in Ringgold. Chattanooga 109, Daniel in Chattanooga. I've got you in the log. And Atlanta 412, Scott 412 in Roswell. I've got you in the log. And let's see, that's a pretty healthy net already. But if we have more, we'll take them. We're already past the point where I can show them in the YouTube live stream. So, whether you can see it in the live stream or not, I will definitely put you in the log. Now, when I created these logs, I thought it was silly to make 50 lines. I thought that's 25 is enough, really. But I just went ahead and went for it, never expecting to ever encroach the end of the log. But it's happened a couple of times, and if we exceed the capabilities of the log, that's okay. We'll just make it work. So Atlanta 412, Scott in Roswell is our last check-in. Do we have any more? All right. Well, that is a great place to begin. And one of the things that I wanted to make mention of tonight is, I'm really humbled at the level of retention that we are holding this year in our membership renewals. It's just amazing to me the interest that North Georgia GMRS has garnered in the last little while here, and I really do appreciate the support and the contributions that people are making to this network, and with that we're able to do some pretty amazing things and some growth opportunities, and so stick around for news of coming events. We've got some things that are happening I can't really talk about yet, but we'll be making announcements very, very soon, I believe. So we'll see how things go this weekend. Maybe we'll be able to make an announcement Monday. I've already said more than I'm allowed to, so I'm probably going to get... Oh, there goes my text messages. Yeah, I'm in trouble. All right, so we'll set that aside. Thanks, everyone, for your renewals. I really, really am humbled by the level of retention that we have with North Georgia GMRS. You folks are amazing. Next thing that I wanted to talk about was where do we go from here? And that is, if you have not renewed, we will still welcome you back. We would love to have you, and for whatever reason that you've not renewed, if this is something that you want to be a part of, let us know. And if we haven't already reassigned your tactical unit number, probably we haven't yet, then we'll make an effort to keep it. But even if we have, you still can come back. You may get a new TAC number. There's lots of folks that have taken new TAC numbers, and they've done it voluntarily. I'm not particularly attached to my tactical unit number. If there was a reason to change it, I would. I've just never felt like there is a reason, so I haven't. But, several folks have. Gainesville 285, 286, Gainesville 117, Atlanta 1402, just a few off the top of my head have voluntarily taken changes to their tactical unit numbers, and they're all very active members of the net. So good stuff. One more thing I wanted to talk about before we kick things into gear, and that is a a little thing that's been circulating on the North Georgia GMRS Facebook page with regards to an event coming up, I believe on February 12. And I want to see if Ron is available to have a conversation about that. Ron, are you there?
Yes, sir, Justin. I am here listening and willing to give some details.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's start off by talking about what is this event and who is it for?
Well, this event is essentially for everyone, everyone who is interested. My group, my prepper group, kind of gets together once a week. We've kind of slacked off over the winter months, but we're getting back into full gear, and we will be doing miscellaneous types of classes with regards to prepping. Everything from fire starting to canning to water purification, a little bit of firearms training and things such as that. What types of things that you keep in your EDC, which is your everyday carry bag in your vehicle, those types of things. But this event is basically a meet and greet. It's a meet and greet for the North Georgia GMRS network people who are interested in prepping, and my group, so that we can get a whole bunch of people together who are of like mind and want to be prepared in the event of, say, a natural disaster or a really, really bad event. But let me break. We'll be holding this event over at Central Park in Cumming on the 12th, 1 p.m. We will be providing food, so bring your appetite. Bring your children, bring your wives, bring your husbands. Whoever wants to attend, we're going to talk about GMRS radios and why it's important to you, why it's important to us, and where do we go from here, and also maybe a little bit of prepping stuff with regards to, like I said, EDCs, and hopefully we'll have a big, long conversation about being prepared for future disasters and or events, whatever that may be.
Well, fantastic. And so is this something that you're thinking of doing like maybe monthly or quarterly, or, I mean, that's a fairly large event, especially if you're intending to provide, food and things of that nature. What's the long-term picture look like?
This right here is sort of, I guess, a jump-off point where I'm trying to get some North Georgia GMRS members involved. If you're willing to participate in a weekly event, we will have usually, over the springtime months when it's a little bit warmer and we're able to get together, we'll usually do a meeting once a week on a Sunday, and we get together and we'll have a class, maybe about canning or, maybe about food prep, creating buckets of food to sustain, a small family for a couple of months. And we'll talk about how that's done and what's important, how to do it, maybe a little bit of dried meats, maybe a little bit of hunting, some water purification, some survival skills, if you will. We're looking for new members, and we're hoping that maybe some of the North Georgia GMRS people would like to participate. It's not a mandatory thing every week. We will have weekly meetings with our immediate group. We've all been in this together for a couple of years now, and we'd love to invite new members and new people who are interested in being prepared.
Well, fantastic stuff. I know that I know that there is a sort of a pent-up hunger within the North Georgia GMRS membership to attend a gathering, if nothing else, just to be able to meet fellow GMRS users, put a face with the voice that they hear, and do a little handshaking and that sort of thing. There's long been this desire within this radio community to have face-to-face gatherings, and we've been short on doing that over the last 2 years. I can't quite put my finger on why, but in any case, I think that you'll have a very large attendance, just because a lot of people just want to get out and do something, and doing something with other GMRS users is an interesting thing to do. So that's cool stuff, and I'm glad to hear that you've made this open and available. I know that you had to change the venue from your home to a public place, and that's a fantastic problem to have. I just hope that. So let me ask you this: is there anything that folks should plan to bring? Do we need to bring a tablet to take notes? Should we bring a few tuck-in bucks to contribute to the food? Do we need to bring drinks and beverages? What should folks plan on bringing?
Well, at this point, mostly bring yourselves, bring your enthusiasm, and bring your interests. If you want to take notes, that would be awesome, because they may help you later on. But we will have, as we do at every one of our meetings, internally and also externally, with regards to bringing other people in, we will have a donation jar, and those donations will usually go towards future events. And if they don't go towards future events, one of the other things that we do as a group, we call ourselves FOCO Support Team. We like to support our community, and if there's a family or an individual, with children in need of some things, we like to collect things and also cash, if that's needed as well, to help support some community members, whether they be part of the group or not. It doesn't matter. It's usually someone who comes to us and says, hey, I have a friend that needs this or needs that, and we try to, support the community in different ways as best we can. That's sort of the premise behind our group, above and beyond the prepping thing, where we kind of train each other and try to, make sure that everybody's prepared for natural disasters and that type of thing. We like to reach out to the community, and this is part of our reach out, is reaching out to the North Georgia GMRS community and getting those people involved. I know there's a lot of people who do this thing on a regular basis and also do the prepping thing, canning, and all that kind of stuff. We want to get to know you. We want to, want you to get to know us. We want to be part of it. We want to be part of the community. We want the community to come together, and it's a big meet and greet thing so that we can all see each other.
Well, fantastic stuff. I wish that I could be there. I have other obligations most weekends for the next several months with the relocation of Studio B happening. So I'm tied up with a lot of things. But very pleased to know that folks will be able to gather at this event, and there again, bring a couple of bucks to put in the donation jar, and somebody should bring a sign-in sheet. That would be a cool thing for people to make note of their name and their tactical unit number, and maybe that's something that could get posted. Maybe folks don't want to have a public record of that, and that's okay too. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I just would have, I guess the biggest thing is I'd be curious of a head count, how many people show up. So I think you're going to have a very, very good attendance, and good stuff. Stick around, Ron. there may be people with questions that they want to direct to you. So if you're able to tonight, that would be awesome. If not, Ron has a thread running on our Facebook page. So if you're curious about what's going on, search for that and see if you can find out more about Ron's event. I'm not even sure. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tag it as an announcement, so it'll show up at the top of the page when people look for it. But it'll take me a little while to do that. Now I have to remember to do that after tonight's program. So somebody help me remember to do that. And all right then. So Ron, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, sir. I think that's great. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this, and have all the people that have checked in and who are listening to get the information, and hopefully you find the time to come on out and meet and greet some of the other GMRS network members and meet our team. My team has been working very hard to make this event happen, and we will be recording at least members who show up, some attendance, that kind of thing. If you prefer not to be recorded, that's fine. You can just let us know. We won't put your name down, but I'm thinking that everybody is excited about it. I've talked to a number of different members over the past few days, and they're very excited. Anxious to be there. I'm anxious to meet a lot of people as well, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, Justin, and I'll be clear for the moment, and I will stay on here and listen in.
Excellent stuff. Okay, one more quick announcement, and then we're going to get started with tonight's Who's Who, and we'll find out about what one another does. So the last announcement that I have for the evening is the Dalton Ham Fest coming up February 26th. February 26th, the Dalton Ham Fest. North Georgia GMRS is going to have a table indoors, and so that'll be another opportunity to stop in and say hello. So Dalton is way up on the northern extremity of our coverage area, so many of you may choose not to go to the Ham Fest, and that's okay. Tim, you're excused, but would love to be able to see as many as are able to show up, and yeah, we'll have postcards or stickers, or we'll have some stuff. I don't have a lot of that stuff left anymore, so I'm not sure how far it'll go, but I'll bring some stuff along to pass out, and hopefully we'll see you up there at the North Georgia GMRS. I wish I could attend this event on the 12th with Ron and his prepping group. So it's something that also I'd be very interested in, when they're holding classes. Ron, if you would make announcements on our Facebook page in advance of your classes, so what the topic is and that sort of thing. There's all kinds of things that would be interesting to develop some skills in. So good stuff. All right then, let's go ahead and get this thing moving. Tonight's topic is Who's Who, and by that what I mean is, what do you do for a living, and what skills or hobbies or interests do you have that could be of interest to other users, or just talk about yourself and what you're made of. That's kind of what I had in mind. A little bit about me. My day job is I'm a railroad electronics engineer. I don't really do any electronics engineering in the conventional sense. What I really do is I drive a mouse across the desk all day. And the purpose for that is for railroad signaling. So the equipment that dispatchers use to control the routes and direction of trains. The signaling equipment in the field, the switches, the track switches at sidings and that sort of thing. I designed the database and the control mechanisms that the dispatchers use to operate all of that stuff across 22 states and 20, or I think we're at 20,500 miles at this point. So it's down a little bit. We were at 22,000 miles, but we've retired some of the coal mine stuff in West Virginia and some of the stuff that doesn't get used in Ohio anymore around some of the electric utilities. That there used to be a lot of electric utilities in Ohio that burned coal, and most of those have converted to natural gas. So that's what I do. I'm a railroad guy by day and a radio nerd by day and night. So there we go. So let's go to the top of our list. First, we have Gainesville 285, C.V. Smith out of Murrayville. CV, all this time, with all the time you seem to have on your hands, I thought you were retired. What is it that you do?
Stand by, Justin. I got to turn another radio down. Can you repeat that repeat that, please?
Well, I just commented to the fact that with all that spare time that you seem to have on your hands, I thought you were retired. But turns out you've got a day job. What is it that you do?
Okay. Yeah, I had to turn Mr. Pete's repeater down over there. Well, if I may, very briefly, Lynn and I began the bail bonding business in July of 1991, and that's what I do to this day. Now, Lynn was the accountant at the North Hall High School until she retired several years back to come home and take care of grandkids when our first grandkid was born almost 9 years ago. So she takes care of 7 grandchildren, and that's pretty much a Monday through Friday thing, sometimes a little bit more, but we're in the bail bonding business, and I'll take a break and give you a brief breakdown on the history of that, very brief, if allowed.
Please do. I think we'd all like to hear about it.
Throughout the 1980s, I was employed with a little company called Equifax, and about 1990, they decided to let some middle management people go, laid off about 2,500 people across the country. I was one of those people, looking around for something to do, had to find something to do to feed the family. Still do have a very good friend by the name of Richard V. Meekum, who was the sheriff of Hall County at that point in time, served 12 years, later became United States Marshal for the Northern District of Georgia under son George Bush, appointed, and he recommended that I go into the bail bonding business. So in 1991, Lynn and I went into the bail bonding business and started out working from the home, went to a little shabby office across from the Hall County Jail in Gainesville for a period of time, and now we have 14 agents who are authorized to sign bail bonds in Hall County. So that's the brief history. And I'll be glad to take questions. I'm not going to go into a lot of details beyond that, other than if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Well, that's fantastic stuff. And the only question I have is, what is your company motto?
I have a feeling you've heard this before. The company motto is, God is good and crime pays.
I love it. I love it. I get a chuckle every time I hear that because it's so relevant. God is great, and in that context, crime pays. So I applaud you for the opportunity to be able to put a statement like that together and have it make sense. So that's good stuff. CV, is Lynn going to come on with any comments, or is she in and out?
No, she's sitting over here telling me I did good. So she's out on the comments.
Well, that's fantastic. Glad to have her along. Appreciate that she's listening in, and well, good stuff. Thanks for playing along tonight, CV. It's good to hear from you, and that was a great rundown on the business. Lots of things that I never really realized about how all that came together. So good stuff. Atlanta 403, Bobby in White County. What do you do?
I'll tell you, Justin. CV was a hard act to follow. But anyway, I did 35 years plus in the auto parts business, and then came up to Georgia, and I worked for about 4 or 5 years at a gun store, and then the gun store went under, and just about the time my dad got sick, so right now I'm just doing little handyman, odd job work, and that kind of thing, but looking for a full-time job, and hopefully eventually I'll find one. It's a tough act to follow after CV's, what CV does, so, but that's about it on my end.
Well,
Diesels and electronics.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Bobby. I appreciate you giving me the heads up. Jeff, diesel mechanics and automotive repair, and I think you left something out. You've got a little weekend thing that you do from time to time as well, don't you?
I just do a little aerial acrobatics and play monkey on the weekends, that's all.
You can play it down if you want to, but I'm not going to let you get by with it. Jeff has been a major contributor to North Georgia GMRS, volunteering his time and his skills, and he has contributed in a large way to in a lot of our tower climbing. So Jeff is one of our authorized tower climbers. It's not something that we're willing to let just anyone do. People that are going to be engaged in that activity are carefully vetted for their abilities before we allow them to engage in that. For safety reasons, we need to make sure that anybody that's going to get up on a tower is competent and capable of doing that physically and mentally. And I had Jeff show up at a tower site, and I had to hang on to his pant leg to keep him from going up the tower. He wanted to be on that tower in the biggest way, and so finally we had a task that we could test him with, and he demonstrated well beyond any questionable competence there. He was perfectly comfortable and capable of being on the tower, and so he's been an integral part of the crew ever since. And so good stuff. Appreciate that, Jeff, and appreciate your contribution to the North Georgia GMRS community. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 810, John in Dawsonville. You going to help me with that caps lock key?
Sorry, Justin, it took me a minute to get back to the radio here. So I have a technical background. When I was in high school, I was presented with a couple of different options. Number one, I could go to college and pay for school and be in debt. I had no financial help to pursue college. The second option I had was I could get a job and make money. And I'm a pretty simple kind of guy. But it sounded better to me. So I went into business for myself and owned the computer repair business for about 8 years, doing hardware-related work, building machines, fixing machines. Then I got into software a little bit, and let me break. And ended up doing virus removals and started working with coding a little bit. Picked up a contract for a company called DataScan, doing server racking and mounting, cable management, that type of thing. I worked there as a contractor for about 6 years, and they ended up bringing me on full-time as an associate with a completely different job. This company is a wholesale finance software company. They write a custom in-house software for banks to interface mainly with car dealerships. And I began working on their support team, supporting the banks and using the software that we write. Let me break again. After being in the support team for about 4 years, I was promoted to manager of the support team, where I have been for the last 5 years, managing a group of anywhere from 9 to 12 people in a customer service-related role on a technical software. Justin, I can help you with your caps lock key, but I have some other ideas too.
Well, fantastic. I guess we'll have conversation about the caps lock and other ideas outside of the net, but that's good stuff. Yeah, that's a depth of. I knew that you were in the banking industry, but I didn't know that it was a software thing. So, yeah, that's very interesting stuff. Well, I guess now the North Georgia GMRS community knows that if they need somebody to write software for banking applications, you're the guy.
Yeah, well, I've been in this business I celebrate 10 years in May this year as an associate. And as I mentioned, I was contracting, doing other type of work 5 or 6 years before that. So I've been in it for a while. One of the neat things, he didn't check into the net tonight, but Atlanta 829, John Curry, is also a member of North Georgia GMRS. He started on the ham side. Got me interested in ham a bit, as well as my granddad for many, many years. And I talked him into joining the North Georgia GMRS group. He is actually one of my direct reports. So it's kind of neat that we can carry on conversation. He checks in with me on the radio occasionally as well. But yeah, it's a neat little company there.
That's very, very cool. Yeah, I don't know that I really have any coworkers or peers that would really even have much in the way of an interest in what we do here. We all play with radios at work, and so none of us really want to mess around with them at home. I working in the field, I used to carry a radio, an HT, into the house at night, and have the mobile in the truck, and monitor the railroad traffic for trouble and stuff, sometimes through the evening. And that got old real quick, because if you monitor the railroad radio, there will be trouble, and you end up going out on stuff that maybe if you just wait for them to call you, you might not have had to get involved in. So I learned not to bring the HT into the house at the end of my work day, and then I would only get trouble calls that really warranted me going out there. So I still ended up taking 3, 4, 5 trouble calls a week. It was a unique territory when we lived in Fort Wayne. I had 4 adjacent territories and a foreign railroad that I sometimes took trouble calls on. So it wasn't like being out in the middle where you have an adjacent on one end and you have an adjacent on the other end. I was in the middle of town where we had multiple lines that came together and crossed, and so I had 4 adjacents and a foreign railroad that I had to work with. So I was busy on trouble calls quite a lot, but I don't do that sort of thing anymore. Well, tell me, John, does 810.5 have a career that he'd like to talk about tonight?
After the fussing that he did, told me he was sleepy and he was going to go to bed. However, we did talk about it in the Jeep on the way home, and he told us he had several jobs, including going to school, cleaning his playroom, cleaning up after dinner, and playing with his brother when his brother was fussy. So he's got several jobs. I don't know that they're quite careers yet, but he reminded us of all the jobs he does do, and he was super excited to hear his name called out when you allowed me to interrupt and add him into the logs. I had to apologize to him that I missed him at the beginning.
Well, he is definitely in the log. So let's see. Will he see it if you show it to him? Where is he? Let me look at it over here. Yeah, you should see it. He's in the 21 spot on the log. So right in the middle of the screen. So if you pull the video and look at that, you should be able to show him his spot in the log. And those are all, I think, valid jobs. As you mentioned, going to school is probably one of the most important jobs he has right now. But, you know, cleaning up after dinner is also important. Meals are a very valuable portion of our day. And I can attest to the fact that the ribs are very highly valuable today. So, you know, the cleanup task has got to be done, and it's a task that should be shared by all family members, and that's good stuff. So appreciate that. How about Victoria? Is Victoria going to come on the air tonight and talk about her skills and her capabilities, or is she tied up tending to the children?
I am actually here. The boys are, well, one boy is in bed and the other is just playing. My spiel, I guess, is going to be much more simplistic than my husband's, but I am a kindergarten teacher, so I spend all day loving on little babies and teaching little humans to be little scholars.
Well, fantastic stuff. My wife and I, for several years, volunteered at the church in the preschool department, entertaining the kids during the time between their Sunday school class and when parents would come to pick them up. So we had about 20 or 25 minutes with the kids to just monitor them in a game room and watch them interact with one another and play these games and fight over different games and play coach and play intermediary and play grandparent and all of that sort of thing. It was a fun thing to do for a while because it was only 25 or 30 minutes. But even after several years of that, though, it became tedious. So to take that on as a career, holy cow, that's a major thing there. It's not something I'd be capable of. So my hat is off to you for taking that on. Any additional skills or interests that you'd like to share with the group?
I'm pretty simple. I go to work and I come home and tend to the family. The one thing I would say, I'm not sure how many young families we have out there with young children, but if there's anyone in the group who is ever needing advice, like I said, I'm a kindergarten teacher, but I'm certified to teach K through 5. But if anyone out there is needing any advice about a situation you're having at your child's school or just needs an ear of someone in the education community, I actually just tonight requested to join the Facebook group. So feel free to reach out via messaging or any other way that works. I'm more than happy to help.
Oh, yeah, I do see your request to join. I would approve it at this moment, but I always let Gary do that. So I'm going to not going to decline. I'm just going to not approve it and let that lay. When Gary gets around to it, he will put that in there. But welcome to the Facebook page. I think you'll enjoy some of the conversation and topics that get hashed about there. And for the most part, that's a pretty positive environment. So it's a little bit unique in terms of that. And, what a great offer in terms of, advice and counseling and whatnot for children issues. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. After having raised 4 kids, I can tell you that there is no single solution to how to do it. Once upon a time, we looked at kids that were misbehaving and we said, well, it's all on how they're raised. That's, that's how you can tell one kid from, because they're, it's the parents. That's the difference between, this kid and that kid. But, 4 of my kids shared the same parents and have completely different personalities, perspectives, attitudes, work ethic. My kids all are very, very, very different, despite the same parents. So the thing that I've learned in all of these years is that you can't look at a kid and say, well, he's the way he is because of his parents, whether that's good or if that's bad. A kid is a unique individual with unique characteristics that he owns, or she owns. And we can, as parents, we can help guide and mold and coach and direct and parent our children, but we can't make them into something they're not. And so that's, I guess, the one thing that I learned along the way. But don't sell yourself short, Victoria. The taking care of the kids, taking care of the home, that is a job. And, it's a full-time job on top of a full-time job. So you've got a lot more going on there than we often give credit for. So appreciate that. Next on my list is Atlanta 253, Donald in Blairsville. Donald, tell me about your job skills. What is it that you do during the workday? Well, Donald, I wouldn't sell yourself short on not having any skills. I know all about your upholstery work, and if anybody needs some advice in the area of upholstery, I would recommend that you reach out to Donald, and he can explain the merits of upholstery work. And so bear that in mind. And the Go Box is a very handy thing to have. My Go Box has an F and a 150 on it. So if the power goes out, I can go out there and I can turn on the key. And in some situations, it has even served as a backup to Studio B. So, but seriously though, the Go Box project is one that's been on the back of my mind. 947 has brought it up a number of times. So that's something I think we're going to have to take a good hard look at. I've just been reluctant to invest in batteries. The dry cell or the sealed lead acid, the absorbed gas battery, is a nice option. They're not terribly expensive, but they're heavy. They're just heavy, and I would like a Go Box that's very lightweight. Well, you get into those Life Pro batteries, and they are indeed lightweight, but they're also pretty expensive. So I want the good lightweight battery that costs what a cheap battery costs. So I'm banking on the fact that the battery industry is going to be going through a series of evolutions over the next several years, and hopefully soon we'll have a lightweight, inexpensive, and energy-dense battery that we can use for our projects. Because I just hate toting around those heavy batteries. But good stuff, Donald. And yes, do you want to come back and remark about your upholstery work?
That is either covering the couch or covering the recliner. And go ahead and check me. Yes, this is 3WQNV274 clear.
All right, Donald. Covering the couch or covering the recliner? Excuse me. Oh, that snuck up on me out of nowhere. Yes, Donald is good at covering, not so much recovering, but just covering the couch. So that's his talent with upholstery. All right, Donald, we're going to go ahead and show you clear of the net. Thank you for coming on tonight. Next on my list is Atlanta 420, William in Roswell. William, do you have any skills, talents, job experience you'd like to share?
Well, Justin, I guess this is how it goes there. Hello, everyone. I am William. I am a workaholic in recovery. Since I've done my last labor. So, with that said, I think pretty much everyone knows that I try my best to stay busy. Other things a little bit more too complicated to explain there. That'll be it for me there, Justin. You guys have a great night. 73 WRFS 771 clear.
You know, that brings me to some fond memories as a kid working on the farm with my dad. You know, we'd be out in the barn working on a project, working on something, fixing a tractor, fixing a wagon, fixing some farm implement, and welding and drilling and breaking and bending and you know, Mom would come out and she'd say, "What are you doing?" And Dad would say, "It's top secret what we're doing." He'd say, "Our work is so secret that we don't even know what we're doing." And that was the running joke around the place, was that we were always engaged in top secret activities. So good stuff, William. And yeah, we know that that you're always busy. You're always posting. But interesting stuff. I don't know how that brain of yours works, but I know it's busy all the time. And I don't know that I could ever keep up with it, but it's fun to try. Next on my list, I have Gainesville 120 Emmeline in Murrayville. Emmeline, tell me about your skills and talents, if you will.
Hello. My main job is a full-time fifth grader in school, and my things that I do just for fun is softball, doing art, playing video games, and spending time with my family. And being a kid as much as I can be.
Well, fantastic, Emmeline, a full-time fifth grader. That is an important task, and I'm glad to hear that you take it seriously, because there is an opportunity, a wealth of opportunity available to you if you'll only pay attention in school and capitalize on that education. And it's not just the stuff that comes from the classroom. It's all the stuff that happens in between and around, and the interactions with people and adults and all of that. And there's lots of things to be gained from the softball game as well, and networking with other people and negotiating and there's just an endless amount of skills and talents that you can earn from engaging in those kind of activities that you don't even realize you're learning while you're learning. So fantastic. And Emmeline, your radio sounds great. You are a very well-spoken fifth grader, so it's a pleasure to have you on the air. So thank you for all that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Gainesville 117, Damon in Murrayville. Can you follow that up?
I don't know if I can follow that up, Justin. That's kind of hard to beat. I wish I could go back and be a full-time fifth grader, but you know, that's never going to happen. So, but yeah, as far as me, I got 24 years in the fire service as a firefighter EMT, working for Hall County Fire, and also I work through EMS and fire at Road Atlanta Racetrack as a safety team.
Oh.
Pretty much, I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none is what I've been called. So I spend most of my free time coaching and working, fixing things around the house. So that's me in a handbasket.
Jack of all trades, master of none. I can relate to that. You know, there's a running joke around here. That's when there's a project to come about. Julie wants a new bed or a new dresser or a new piece of furniture or the tiki bar. The joke runs along the line of we get an estimate for what something would cost to have it done, and but rather than pay somebody to do that, let's just do it ourselves, because if it's a $400 thing that we could buy to put drawers underneath the bed, I could make one of those easily for $800. Well, because, I've got to buy the materials, and then there's tools that I don't have that I'm going to need to make that. And, there's some fancy stuff that I need to have in the shop so that I can make sure that I can do it the way they do it, the way the pros do it. And that $400 purchase just turns it into $800 worth of tools and materials and whatnot. And that is something that happens time and again. And then further, if it's a bigger project, you get into the time and the materials, and then you get partway through the project only to find you're going to have to hire a pro anyway, so you've spent more than twice as much on the project. But anyway, that's the running joke around here about the handyman jack of all trades routine, is that oftentimes when a project comes up and I mention the fact that I could do that or I could build that, it all boils down to when are you going to have the time, and that's what I'm faced with right now. Is there are so many things to do around here, and there's only one of me, and I get in my own way. So if there were two of me, we wouldn't get anything done. Good stuff, Damon. Glad to have you on here, and appreciate your service as a fireman and an EMT. 24 years. That's good stuff. Next on my list is Atlanta 285, Zach in Dallas. Zach, I don't know that you've been around us long enough for me to have gotten to know anything about what you do, so fill me in. Atlanta 285, Zach in Dallas. Are you with us?
Justin, Zach's going to be on just in a second.
All right, I'll babble here for just a minute while we wait for Zach to figure things out and come on the air here. Let me see, what does this thing say? Okay, I got the peanut gallery cracking on me over here. All right, 911, you need to come on the air and tell us what it is that you do. Why don't you go ahead and take advantage of this moment, and I'll get you checked in.
Atlanta 911, WARS 515, Cassandra in Woodstock. Good evening, everybody, and I'm cackling because I told Justin it sounds like he still wasn't going to get to find out what Zach does.
Well, let's see if that holds true. Atlanta 285, have I stalled long enough? Are you available yet? All right, I'm going to go ahead and set Zach aside for the time being, and we'll come back to him after we speak with Atlanta 434, Ron incoming. Ron, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, beyond the event that you're going to hold on February 12th?
This is Atlanta 1100 WRKP 291. I don't know if this is net control, but if this is, I will be checking in and out.
All right, Atlanta 1100. Go ahead and give me your name and general location. We'll get you in a log.
Atlanta 1100, Whiskey Romeo Kilo Papa 291. I'm currently over in East Point, Georgia, and the name is Joseph. And yes, we did just hear a rumbling of thunder over here.
Yeah, I had some of that earlier this evening, but it seems to be quiet out there at the moment. But who knows how long that'll last. All right, Atlanta 1100, Joseph in East Point. I've got you in log, in and out. Atlanta 434, Ron, are you still with us? You want to talk a little bit about your personal skills and in your job?
Yes, sir, Justin, I'm still here. I got a long story, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Right out of high school, worked for a contractor, went ahead and did some work for an architectural firm as a little helping hand for the contractor. Landed a job with the architectural firm as a gopher, if you will. Learned a lot about painting and color matching and that kind of stuff. Got into model making, which was more professional model making, not building little toy cars and stuff, but building skyscrapers. Did that for about 14 years. Left that company, got into prototyping. Did some prototyping with regards to consumer products. Got into doing more and more of that and did some design work. From there, I went on ahead and learned how to engineer machines. Did some engineering machine work for a few years in Connecticut. Moved down here to Georgia, and I have been working for a company here incoming since I moved down here almost 10 years ago as an engineer, mechanical engineer. I build machines. Just recently, I took on the position of sales manager as well. So now I am selling the machines that I am designing. So I'm kind of an analytical kind of guy. I try to analyze things and, fix it, even if it's not broke. But I learned a lesson a long time ago. If it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So you present me with a problem, I'll try to make it right. And that's kind of my mentality. And again, the other thing that I do is reach out to the community, and that's my group.
That's good stuff. And that's something, in the signal department on a railroad, we try to make sure that Fridays are paperwork days. The last thing you want to do on a Friday is go out to a location and open up the case and start doing testing. Because sometimes when you test, you find things. And some things, once found, cannot be left. They have to be corrected. So you want to be careful about when you find some things, and be sure that if you find something, it's something that you're not going to spend the rest of the day and part of the weekend digging up a piece of cable and replacing some cable out to a light fixture because you found a ground in it. So that's important to know when to fix and when to leave alone. And this is the good stuff. That's very interesting, Ron. I didn't know about the machinery design and engineering and sales. So that's is there a particular field that the machinery is related to, or is it just kind of general whatever?
Well, back when I was in Connecticut, we were doing assembly machinery, basically assembling components, whether it be vibration welding or sonic welding or heat staking and that kind of thing. I actually designed about half a dozen machines for Tesla, assembling components of Tesla cars. After leaving that, moved down here to Georgia. Now I work for a company that does in-motion check weighers. And check weighers is basically a conveyor belt with a scale underneath it. As a product runs across it, we weigh it and detect whether or not there's enough product in that package, or maybe there's something missing. And and we can detect things all the way down to .05 grams. And, you know, we've done everything from 200-pound bags of coffee beans to little pieces of gears coming out of, you know, a sintered metal machine.
Very interesting. All right. Well, that's a pretty precise thing to be able to get down to a fraction of a gram when you're dealing with things that might weigh hundreds of pounds. So that's remarkable accuracy. Well, neat stuff. I can kind of visualize what you're talking about. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that, you know, in person, but I do have a little bit of manufacturing experience. So that's neat. All right, Ron. Well, thank you for that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to, let's see, where am I at? There I am. I'm looking for Atlanta 285, Zach in Dallas. Zach, are you with us?
Justin, this is Atlanta 120 WROW 267. Can you add me into your list? I'll be monitoring, sir.
All right, Atlanta 120. First name and general location, please.
And I'm out of Canton, Georgia. Atlanta 120 WROW 267. I'll be monitoring.
All right, was that 1140? All right, a lot of distortion in that audio there, Troy. But I've got Atlanta 1140 in the log. We'll come to you and Connor here in just a little bit. We're still in the middle of our rundown, and we always take check-ins again at the end. So there will be an opportunity for everyone to get checked in here at some point along the way. I'm going to go ahead and pass on Atlanta 285 for the moment. Let's see, where are we at in the log here? I'm all messed up. Let's see. Why am I, there he is. Okay, so all right. So Zach, if you have the opportunity to come back to us, go ahead and call out, interrupt at some point, and we'll try to come back to you. But for now, I'm going to show you as in and out, and we're going to keep on moving. So next on my list is going to be Atlanta 57, Andrew in Holly Springs. Andrew, what do you do?
Good evening, Justin, and everybody on the net. Well, I'm in automotive service at a dealership. I've been doing it for quite a while, so I'm basically a service advisor, basically the liaison between the customer and the technician. So basically people bring me problems, and I have to communicate that to the technicians, and then obviously give the reports back and so on and so forth. So I've been doing that for a good little bit at the same place, which makes me kind of an oddity in my industry, because a lot of people normally jump around in the automotive dealership realm. And I've, for the most part, stayed put for a good period of time. So it pays the bills, can be stressful at times, but boy, you learn a lot of things over the time about people and vehicles.
Oh, yes. Everybody has to have their oil changed just before the holiday, whatever that holiday might be.
My favorite motto is lack of planning on someone else's behalf does not constitute an emergency on mine. Hate to say it, but it's true.
And yet, time and time again, you get it done. All right. He says that it's not an emergency on his part, but I know who Andrew is, and he will find a way to make it happen if it is at all possible. So if you have a vehicle that requires service, Andrew has been very informative, very enlightening, very educational. He gives a lot of information about the situation at hand, and details that maybe others will gloss over or maybe not even understand. So it really is a pleasure to work with Andrew, and the handful of times that we have used Andrew's shop, it's just not physically convenient to us where he's located. But Andrew has done things like, I've been able to drop my car off at his house, and he'll drive it into work and have it serviced and then bring it back the next day so that I don't have to go all the way over there. So he's an above and beyond kind of guy. So don't even hear that lack of planning is not my emergency nonsense, because he says that, but he doesn't believe it, not for 1 minute. You can't fool me, Andrew.
I figured I'd get a rise out of somebody on that. So that's something we like to say and have fun with, because it does happen. But Justin is right. If it can be done, we will get it done. But I figured I'd raise some eyebrows with that one, and hey, it worked. So, but yeah, no, it's it can be a thankless job, but in the end, you're solving people's problems, and that's kind of, the gratification that you get from it at the end of the day is when someone is happy, they had an issue, it was kind of the end of the world at that moment, and then they drive away happy. So that's really where it is at the end.
Well, and there's a level of service that Andrew's not speaking of, that from circumstance that I've had here. There's a shop that's right on the corner. It's walking distance from here, and I can tell you that it's walking distance because I once had to walk home from that place. This is a relatively new shop. I was excited to see them come into place because of their convenient location. We did business with them for a year and some change. And but their service writer dropped the truck off for an oil change. Their service writer's calling me, telling me I need to put tires on the truck. I just put tires on the truck. The truck literally has 2,000 or 3,000 miles on its tires, and the service writer is telling me that the tires are cupping and that the suspension is shot and that I need to put tires on the truck. Well, I let them go ahead and put struts on the front end because that was the cause of the cupping. But when I got the truck back, and that was a whole different story. I went over there. They called me to tell me it was done. I went over there to pick it up, only to find out that a wrecker had picked it up to take it to a transmission shop because my truck had a lumber rack on it, and the truck that was supposed to go to the transmission shop had a lumber rack on it. And the wrecker driver picked up the wrong one, and some knucklehead in the office gave the wrecker driver the wrong set of keys. So that's a separate issue, but the real issue is that investigating this whole cupping tread on the tires, they weren't cupping at all. They were feathered, which is entirely different. I went immediately from that shop to the tire shop, and Discount Tire explained to me what feathering is versus what cupping is. And feathering is something that is going to happen on most new tires on most vehicles. That's just the way that the tire wears, and it's corrected through tire rotation. And it's not a significant indicator of tire wear. It's kind of normal. And so the truck did need struts, and they did put struts on the truck, and it does handle and drive better now that they've done that. But the way that the truck got struts kind of left me unhappy about the whole situation. I felt like they were being dishonest. It might be more a matter of them being untrained than dishonest. But in any case, I'm not going back. That's a shop that has forever lost my business because of the service writer. And I don't think that's the situation you're going to have with a guy like Andrew. He's very well informed. He is very competent at what he does, and I can't recommend work at his shop enough. I just wish they were in Woodstock instead of. Where is the shop at, Andrew?
It's Rick Case Hyundai in Roswell.
There it is. It's in Roswell, but it's on the other end of Roswell. It's not like it's just here on the edge of Woodstock. So it's probably a 25-minute drive for me. So that's farther than I really want to go. And I did find another shop. It's still walking distance, but I hope that I don't have to. Good stuff, Andrew. Appreciate that. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move to next. I have Atlanta 1402, Todd incoming. Todd, are you still having dinner?
Justin, I am here, and I do not have any special skills. I think people have heard me talk about what I do for a living on the air. I run a trade association. It's been around since 1901, and we do everything dealing with commercial trade credit, from credit reporting to education to industry credit groups and whatnot. And I don't really have any special skills other than I mastered the art of relationships a long time ago, and so that's kind of what I do.
Well, that can be an art, there's no doubt, and a challenging one at that, relationships. I saw a thing on Facebook, and let me see if I can get this right. It said if you're not happy single, you won't be happy married. Happiness doesn't come from relationships, it comes from radios. So I don't know if that's true, but I thought it was funny. But yes, relationships can be a challenging thing, and to have mastered that, I think, is a very high accomplishment. So good stuff, Todd. And yeah, if Zach comes back, we'll get him in here. But he's gonna have to ring me to get in here now. Next on my list is Atlanta 948, Gary in Woodstock. Gary is a retired lineman, and he's also my very good friend and neighbor. And he worked for Cobb EMC for many years. He's explained a lot of the inner workings of Cobb EMC to me, some of the technology behind the switchgear and how the network is laid out and how it's built for reliability, and some of the things that Cobb EMC has done to make the distribution network very reliable. Is cutting edge and award winning, and for many years they were recognized as a leader of advanced technology in the industry. So probably many other EMCs have caught up with that technology at this point, but it's been very interesting to learn how they distribute power versus how other EMCs and other utilities do it. And it's a loop system as opposed to a branch system, which offers a much, much greater level of reliability and a huge improvement in response time if something does happen. So it's a simplistic way of explaining how they are able to achieve such a high reliability, but they are very good at it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Did I catch Tim at dinner time? All right. Well, Tim sometimes gets to be busy in the evenings, and maybe he was in and out and I missed that. But in any case, Tim, if you are in there and you want to jump in, just let me know. But for now, we're going to go ahead and keep moving. Excuse me there. So next on my list is Atlanta 42, Andre in Winder. Andre is in and out. So thank you, Andre, for your check-in tonight. And that brings me to CW45, Ruff in Danielsville. Ruff, tell us about yourself.
Well, all right, Butterow. Let's see here. Been retired for a few years now, so my job now is just finding time to go fishing. And we do a lot of grandkid babysitting and sort of like that. But I grew up on a farm. I got one you probably hadn't done before, Justin. I mastered putting 52 Holstein calves on a bottle at one time, around 10 years old. Anyway, went to work for 4 different chicken plants there in Athens, which is we live here about 12 minutes from the bypass there in Athens, north up there towards Danielsville now. But worked there for near about 30 years. I did all the scheduling of the crews and the drivers and the farmers, and had 350 farmers that would schedule when we go and pick your chickens up and all that kind of stuff. I've been married to the love of my life for 47 years, and I'm looking forward to going fishing. I'm leaving tomorrow. Going to be gone a week. I might get to check in next Thursday, Maritime Mobile. How about that? Anyway, that's all I got. Can I go ahead and check out, buddy, because I need to run downstairs. I've been up here for an hour and a half. The wife's beginning to wonder where I'm at. So with that, CW45W, ROE251, I'll be clear.
All right, Ruff. Well, yes, I'm going to go ahead and show you in and out of the log at this point, but thank you for that. The chicken farming, I had a little taste of that when I was a kid, 15, 16, 17 years old, worked on a chicken farm, gathering eggs and doing maintenance and cleaning pits, and every now and then we'd have to change birds. But that was just one farm, 80,000 chickens. That's more than enough for me. I thought I'd never want to see a chicken again, but for some reason I still love chickens. But good stuff, and good luck on the fishing trip. I hope that goes well. So I'm not sure where you're going, but hopefully it's warm, and hopefully the fish are hungry. So good stuff. Next on my list is another 4-5, Noonan 4-5, EJ in Noonan. EJ, can you tell us about what you do?
Had a lot of different jobs in the past, but previous 20 years before I retired, I was a management system certification auditor, and that included things like quality management systems, information security management systems, and I was also accredited by the World Lottery Association to audit to their security standards. I was supposed to go teach for West Georgia University when I retired, but that kind of fell through right now. I love, and what I'm doing is restoring trumpets, repairing trumpets.
Oh, neat.
And then also restoring cast iron cookware in particular. So while I got set back with that tornado, messed up my shop, we're trying to get going again and enjoy retirement for a change.
Well, that's very interesting stuff. Musical instrument repair. I know that is a high demand, and they're looking for fast recovery because, in my experience, damaged musical instruments are usually from the high school marching band, and they need them back pretty quick.
Yeah, they do. I'm specialized mostly in trumpets and cornets. When I was in junior high, marched in the junior high band, marched in a lot of Mardi Gras parades. So yeah, we dropped one occasionally.
Well, I spent a few years volunteering with the local high school marching band here, and it was a real pleasure working with a group of kids that were really dedicated and really committed to the talent and to the cause, and man, they were a hard-working crew, and you don't mind working hard when the people around you are working hard as well, And that was a challenging job, loading that equipment, moving it to the field, getting things ready for them so that they could come on, use the equipment for 10 minutes or less, and need it to be put away quickly and neatly and in an organized and safe fashion and transported back to the high school. So that was my role for a few years. Enjoyed it immensely. Hope it never happens again. But it's good stuff. So musical instrument repair, that's cool. The auditing and the security stuff, I haven't a clue of. I don't know anything about any of that. I did have a short time with a manufacturing company where I worked in the quality department. I learned a few things about quality control that might not be obvious to many people. Some lessons that have stuck with me for a lifetime. But it's not something that I would declare as a knowledge base or a skill set of mine. So interesting stuff. Well, glad that all that happened. Hope your shop is back up and running in short order, and because I know that those kids are going to break those instruments, and somebody's got to fix them. It's bound to happen. So good stuff. Thank you for that, EJ. Next on my list is Atlanta 538, Rob incoming. Rob is in and out tonight, as well as Atlanta 539, Carol incoming, in and out. Brings me next to Gainesville, 417, William in Auburn, in and out tonight. McDonough 39, Bruce in Stockbridge, in and out. Atlanta 532, Tom in Flowery Branch, is in and out. In Chattanooga 69, Ronnie on the Lookout Mountain Machine is in and out. I want to say thanks to each and every one of those for checking in and monitoring and hanging out with us. It means a lot to know that you're there. Next on my list is Atlanta 780, Houston in Powder Springs. Houston, what is it that you do these days?
Hi, good evening, Justin. Good evening to the rest of the net. Well, these days I'm just a camper. Yeah, we've had many things to do over the years, but as far as being a case man for a loan company, worked 17 years for Yankton Brothers as a field service technician, and Bell and Howell Institute of Technology, and quite a few things, but we're retired. We just kind of hang around and play radio.
Well, hang around and play radio and mentor the North Georgia GMRS membership and help with programming and troubleshooting and just all around asset to the organization. It's great to have you as part of the group, Houston, and I, for one, want to say thanks to you for all the things that you do for us. So, yeah, and after all those years of working in various industry, it's about time you get the opportunity to hang out and play radio all day long. Just wish that you could do it from the comfort of home rather than the confines of a camper. But it's impressive that you've been in that camper for more than a year now. Do you have an end in sight?
No, sir, not really. I think they're supposed to start working on the basement this weekend, and the rain has probably messed that up. So it'll probably be sometime next week. Then after all that's finished, they can start back on the house. So maybe, well, it's 9 months this month I've been in the camper. But maybe before a year we'll get back in the house.
Oh man, I hope so. I thought I heard it mentioned that you'd been in there for more than a year. I must have misunderstood or misheard that. 9 months is a long time, though. That's still an awful long time to not have the comforts of stretching out on a sofa and getting up and walking to the kitchen, or if you stretch out on the sofa, you're in the kitchen, aren't you?
Hey, pretty much, but one thing about it, you don't have get to anything. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I think I've gained a few pounds in the last 9 months.
Yeah, well, I'd say that's good for a weekend or two, but for 9 months, that's probably not good. But hopefully, we'll get you back under a good solid roof here real soon and back to the comforts of a home. Hope that you and Mona are doing well, and look forward to catching up with you again here real soon. And folks, if you need help with your radio setup, call out to Houston, and he'll talk you through whatever it is you're trying to sort out. So he's been a huge asset to the organization. Next on my list is Atlanta 20, Zach in Kingston. Zach, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group?
Maybe a slight delay in this. Just coming off of Zillow versus my radio. Went inside. My name's Zach. I'm from Roanoke, Kingston, whichever one you prefer. Call sign Atlanta 20, WRB 320. FCC call sign, so we go ahead and get that out there. But I'm a lineman for AT&T. I've been a lineman for them for almost a year and a half roughly now. So yeah, it's not necessarily anything exciting. You know, it's kind of one of those fun jobs where some days you know you have it easy, and then past 2 days we've had it kind of rough. Had a car hit a pole that wiped out one pole, and we temporized it. And the next day we had a Mayfield truck that was delivering to a school, got snagged up in it, which then caused 2 more poles to break, which caused.
Well, you got hit by the timeout timer there, Zach. But we heard 2 more poles that broke, and then you got cut off. Why don't you pick it up from there? Zello can be a challenge at times. I imagine he's frustrated trying to get the PTT to come back to him. And it's probably complaining that he's had too many empty messages and now he's in a 2-minute timeout. Zach, if you're still in there wrestling with that Zello app and the finicky push to talk, I've been there. I understand it, and don't fret it. We'll hang out here for another minute and see if we can get you to pick up at the place where you said that they'd wiped out 2 poles. Are you there?
Sorry about that, Justin. Yeah, this first time on here using the push to talk, so it may not be working too well. But yeah, I can't remember if I left off on the first or second one. But we had a Mayfield truck yesterday morning that had snagged one of the other lines, and that had caused 2 poles to break from that, and then caused another one of our cables to sag over a major highway in which an 18-wheeler had snagged it, and it caused 2 more poles to break. So we had our contractors out there setting the 5 poles in one day, and took us 2 days to get all that stuff done. So we had some pretty good long days, and it certainly makes the job fun when you got to do things like that.
Oh, indeed. That reminds me of a time on the railroad. Verizon up there in Fort Wayne had just begun stringing fiber optic through town, and they had a contractor doing it. And I got a trouble call one evening that a gate was hanging up. It was the gate mechanism. When the train would come through, the gate mechanism was not lowering the gate on one side of the road. And I get there and start investigating, and I activated the crossing, and I see that the gate starts to come down, but it's hanging up on a cable across the railroad there, and so I can see what the problem is. The phone company has come and they've strung up some fiber optic low enough that the gate mechanism was catching it and snagging on it. So I'm on the phone in the middle of the night trying to call Verizon customer service to get them to bring a crew out there and raise that cable up. There's plenty of room on the pole. There's no reason for it to be as low as it was. But I got bounced from service center to service center to service center until my phone died. And at that point, my option was to cut the cable. And I can't stay out there all night long manually operating the gate to keep it from snagging on a wire. And I've had it with Verizon. I'm about to go up there and cut that brand new fiber optic right in two. I've got a nice sharp blade in the Sawzall and getting ready to go up there and do that. And along comes a Comcast driver. I don't know how he got involved, but he'd heard about the trouble at the crossing. I guess maybe they thought it was their cable, and came to investigate and explain the situation to him. And he says, "Oh yeah, that's not ours." And I said, "Well, I'm going to cut it." And he says, "No, don't do that." He says, "I'll go up there and I'll get it tied up so that it's not interfering." And he went up in his bucket truck and he tied it off to some lines above, and that made clearance for the gate mechanism and kept from killing somebody that night. But I couldn't believe Verizon and their poor attitude towards taking care of their equipment. I was very, very displeased with them over that. But yeah, that's my maintenance story with telephone companies in the railroad. I just couldn't hardly believe that. But good to have you in the group here, Zach. I guess if I have AT&T trouble, I'll know who to call. Next on my list is Noonan39, Marty in Tyrone. Marty, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do? You can't tell at all. We don't have that kind of time. Just tell us a little bit.
Well, good evening, Justin. I sit here at the radio listening to all the wonderful stories, and at the end of it all, when I get called, I get the correct net control and tell them it's Noonan 29, as in 29. But having said that, yeah, I've done an awful lot of things, as a lot of folks. That was a heck of a story on the telephone pole chain effect or domino effect. Wow.
Yeah.
And just when you think, okay, we got one to do. Oh, we got two. Oh, three. Oh, four. Oh man, that's just crazy. That's when you're saying, is this Monday? This is the Monday you dread, or he said here. Well, I guess my most recent occupation was professional leaf blower around my own house. Just getting rid of all the leaves a couple months back. Haven't done a whole lot since because ever since the pandemic, the lighting and the sound business and the playing music business pretty much went in the crapper. But I've got a long-standing career prior to that of IT network architect and enterprise network engineer. So I'm trying to round up consulting work, doing some of that, and since playing music has never really paid very well, the other things do, and I got to get caught up. So if you know anybody needing that kind of stuff, hey, look me up out there on LinkedIn and see what you can see. I'll answer the phone or the emails or Facebook or whatever, even the radio, but that's kind of where we're at here. Back to net from Noonan 29.
All right, I tried to give you 10 more, but you just wouldn't take it. I don't know if that was a result of my faulty hearing or my fat fingers, but I've got you corrected in the log now. And good stuff. Well, I guess we'll have to keep that in mind. About the only IT thing that I can think of that I need is some help with the stupid caps lock key. I once had a keyboard where I actually pried the caps lock key off of it and threw it away. I'm thinking about doing that again, actually. That was an effective solution. Well, ideally what I'd like is a solution where the caps lock key would function as the same as a shift key. But you know, I'm guessing because this keyboard is behind a USB switch that switches between 4 different computers. So in order to get it to behave the same way, I'm guessing it's going to have to be a software correction on all 4 of those machines, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just pry the caps lock key off again. That'd be the easy way to go, and then all the machines would behave the same way. We'll see what happens, but that's my IT dilemma at the moment. All right, Atlanta 721. I'm going to go to you and ask you what is it you've got for me at the moment, and then we'll talk about your career.
Hey, Justin, this is Atlanta 721. I just noticed on Facebook that Drew, Atlanta 128, he had checked in and out, but didn't realize that that was meaning that he would be more or less passed over. He wanted an opportunity to speak.
All right. Well, I appreciate that clarification, David. In fact, Atlanta 128 is checked in. That could be that I neglected to check the out. But he currently is in the queue to get called upon. But since I've got you, out of order as you might be, we'll fix the order here in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and ask, what do you do? Who are you?
Good evening, everyone. My name's David, and I am a glorified babysitter. I'm a superintendent with a general contractor. We do commercial construction. I've spent most of the past 15 years remodeling banks. We do ground ups, interior renovations, warehouses. We do a little bit of it all, and it's pretty much all in the southeast. But luckily, the past 2 years I've been able to stay in Georgia instead of Virginia or Florida or whatever far-flung place. But yeah, I'm a superintendent, and I love it. I've been with this company for 20 years, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I've done construction my entire life, whether it's pouring residential concrete over summer breaks to get gas money in high school, or building tilt walls and working on high rises.
Well, fantastic stuff. I don't know anything about any of that. When you say ground up, is that like you take a building and you run it through a grinder and it's all ground up?
That's good. I'll have to remember that. Out of all the years, I have not heard that one. That's great. No, that is, we pull up to a patch of dirt and build a building from the ground up. We, start from scratch. Footers, slab, plumbing, utilities, the whole 9 yards. So our company is able to go from dirt to building or renovate whatever's existing. The best thing I love about construction is, the business may change, the name may change on the building, but the building's still there usually, But I could drive by and go, hey, you know what? I built that building. I just think that's cool that, I'm able to leave something around that someone else can see, 10, 20 years, 30 years from now. It's just, I don't know, kind of like leaving a legacy. I don't know. It's weird. I just like seeing it.
Oh, yeah, that is a very cool thing. I drove a ready-mix truck in Fort Wayne for just a few years, fresh out of high school. I don't know who made the worst decision, me driving the ready-mix truck or the company that hired me. It was an awesome adventure, and hope it never happens again. But it is kind of a cool thing to go by a building and know that, I poured that slab, I was there on that job. I delivered that. That's one of my driveways. That 4 miles of sidewalk was the job that they stuck me on for 3 weeks because they couldn't trust me doing anything else. But good stuff and a good experience as a kid to be able to be involved in something like that. So I can relate to that. Taking a little bit of pride and ownership in various properties and landmarks throughout the region, and so that's good stuff. Glad to hear it. And you and I need to have a conversation probably tomorrow about Saturday. So if I forget to call you, why don't you try to remember to call me, and we'll see if we can make that happen. Next on my list, well, not next because I'm out of order, but I'm going to make this next, will be Atlanta 795 Blair in Tucker. Blair, can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm one of those people that's got two jobs. My primary occupation is a realtor. I've been a full-time realtor for about 15 years now. Work mostly, used to do most of my work up in the North Georgia mountains. All those towns up in Georgia and South
All right, Blair. Well, we lost you in that. We heard about the real estate work in the North Georgia mountains, and then you'd made mention of two careers. So I imagine after talking about that, you were talking about your second one, and you were washed out and breaking up. You were not holding the repeater. So I'm betting that maybe you're on an HT. So if you want to try that again, two things. Speak nice and loud into the radio so that it can modulate through the noise, and stand still.
Yeah, I am on my HT tonight. Some nights it works great, sometimes it doesn't. Second occupation is fire sprinkler system. I do that now part-time just as a consulting business. That's my second occupation.
All right, we got it that time. The extra modulation and standing still helped, and you were able to make it through. So fire alarm and fire sprinkler stuff. I understand you do consulting, and I imagine you probably are involved in bidding new work and installations and stuff. You know, back in my early railroad. In this role, one of my first functions in this role was to build a series of dispatch centers on all of the various railroad divisions. All of those dispatch centers have since been closed and consolidated into Atlanta. But I built the dispatch center on the Lake Division. When I say I built it, really all I did was coordinate with the contractor, the general contractor, and his people. And just make sure that they were building the structure that we were going to be able to use. I did a lot of the network wiring for that, just because we were running at that time. We were running 12 Cat 5e runs into each office because there's so much equipment that was being located in the office. The dispatcher computer had two Ethernet connections on that one computer. Then they would have another computer that would just be like for their email and their just general information stuff. And then there was another computer that ran their telephones and their radios. And then the telephone itself was separate from the computer. There was a desk phone. It required an Ethernet connection. And we wanted to have redundancy. So there were 6 devices in each office. So we ran 12 lines. And when that was all said and done, we were testing the fire alarm shortly after we'd moved the dispatchers in. And by testing the fire alarm, I think one of the contractors had accidentally set it off. But that's when we discovered that there were no devices in this brand new dispatch center. We had detectors, but we had nothing that would flash or alarm or strobe or make a noise to indicate that there was a hazard in the building. You absolutely could not hear the fire alarm going off in the rest of the building if you were inside the dispatch center. And so I went back to my people hey, we got to correct this. And they're, no, that project is done. We've closed the books on it. We're not going to pay for anything more. So we ended up having to get the corrections done and paid for out of the local budget. I couldn't believe that the railroad would leave something as critical to safety as a fire alarm annunciator. They would just leave that to the locals. They just didn't want to. They just didn't want to handle that. out of the construction budget. I was dumbfounded by that. You know, we talk safety, 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 but when it comes right down to it, if safety costs anything, well, then maybe it's not that important. So, but interesting stuff. Glad to hear that. And Blair, is this your first check-in with us?
It's been a couple of months. I actually checked in with you guys on Veterans Day, and I've thrown some curveballs recently, so I really hadn't had much time to play on the radio, but that's all behind me, so I'm ready to check in.
Well, life will do that. Curveballs are just part of the game, and we certainly understand that life happens. Hopefully, you'll be able to spend more time and hang out with us more often. Glad to have you on the air tonight, and thanks for sharing with us. Next on my list is Atlanta 252, Shad in Emerson. Shad, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
At this point in time, for the last 8 years, I'm Director of Public Works for the City of Emerson. Before then, I was living up north, and I was a volunteer firefighter, EMT, and worked in a sawmill for 10-hour days, and the other 3 days I was logging for myself.
Oh my God, I got a stack of logs in my front yard they were supposed to pick up today, but I guess it was more than they could load on one truck. So they got part of it, and they're coming back to get the rest, I hope, tomorrow. But yeah, logging work, man, I don't want any part of that. That's hard work. Those logs are heavy, they're big, and if you're not careful, they'll roll over on you. So that's a young man's game. But you're the Director of Public Works for the City of Emerson these days. What does that involve?
It's a big job. Oversee building grounds, overseeing the wastewater treatment plant, water treatment facility for drinking water, right-of-ways, pretty much anything you can think of.
Well, that's a pretty impressive development that came about over there by the truck stop and that water recreation place, and you know all that stuff is brand new in there. Is that all stuff that's served by the City of Emerson?
Yes, sir. We've got that. We are also going to be servicing the new Amazon down there on Highway 293, almost in Ackworth.
What about the Budweiser plant? Is that part of what you take care of?
No, sir. That's in Cartersville. That's a good little ways away from us. But we do have all of Lake Point, almost all the way in Cartersville city limits.
Well, that's a beautiful drive in and around and through there. We often travel that way as we go up to Ladd's in Cartersville. We make that trek fairly often and less frequently these days, but we'll probably get back into some regular trips up there again pretty soon. I never knew that Cooper's furnace was back in there until one day we were what is that, 293? I don't even remember that road up to Cartersville, but saw the sign for it. It looked like it was some sort of a historic thing, you know. Didn't know anything about it, but come to find out that was the pig yard that they got that switch locomotive out of when they were in chase for the locomotive, the General, that had been stolen by the Union troops. What a fascinating story that is. And I learned that story from a visit to the Civil War and Locomotive Museum in Kennesaw. So if anybody is wondering what it is that I'm talking about, have a look at the internet for the Civil War and Locomotive Museum in Kennesaw. There's a story about a locomotive that was stolen by the Union soldiers during the Civil War, and it is a fascinating story. it is just an absolute wonder to me that they were able to catch up to that locomotive and capture those guys. So just amazing. But yeah, it's a neat territory through there. And Cooper's Furnace is an old pig iron furnace that they was a part of that story. And there's remnants of that historical location that you can go and visit as part of a park in that area. I believe that's part of Emerson, is it not? Or is that maybe that's Cartersville?
It's in Cartersville, just outside of Emerson, but there's another one that is privately owned. It's on a small road in Emerson called Devil Ridge. There's remnants of a furnace there too. Nobody really pays attention to.
That's interesting. Had no idea that there was processing of iron ore, in this region, back in those days. You think of that as being something that happens in the big steel mill towns, but iron ore was indeed cast into ingots to be used in other manufacturing. The ingots were called pig iron, right here in North Georgia. So fascinating piece of history. Well, thank you for that, Shad. Let's go ahead and move on next to Atlanta 312. Stacy, also in Emerson. Stacy, what is it that you do these days?
Well, I am a scheduler, coordinator, office manager for a home care company. I've been doing scheduling, like scheduling staff, for about 20 years now. And I also have about 15 years experience working with adults with mental disabilities.
Well, good stuff. So what does that involve?
The scheduling is setting up all on computer, obviously. Setting up new caregivers, scheduling the caregivers with what clients go to, who checked in, who clocked in, who clocked out, who didn't show up, who did show up.
Well, I think I lost you there, Stacy. I got that you're doing the scheduling, and it sounds like that's something that you're doing mostly from home. Is that true?
We have an office. I can do everything that I do at home, at work, at home, or really most of it on my phone.
Yeah.
I schedule clients and set up new clients, caregivers. Try to match them up that'll work out, deal with call outs, who's not coming, who didn't show up, who's running late, just all that good lovely stuff.
So it's a lot like herding cats.
Live cats, too.
Fantastic. Well, great. Good stuff, Stacy. Glad you were able to make it on tonight, and you and Shad are sounding much, much better, so I hope you're feeling great. Next on my list is Atlanta 286, Robert in Dallas. Robert was in and out tonight, and thank you, Robert, for your check-in. And that brings me next to Atlanta 128, Drew in Dawsonville. Drew, do you have anything you'd like to share tonight?
So my first time actually on the net talking. Last time it was not the net, and everybody helped me get my radio going, so thanks for that. About myself, I've been in IT now for 20-some odd years, and kind of taken a step back, and I'm still in IT as an IT director, but I'm looking to make a career change, and I actually now am running an inspection company for home inspections.
Oh.
I've been doing home inspections since 2017, but got out of it for a while, got back into it. I've had a fair share of house renovations that I've done, so I've got a good background on that. I also own a little farm here in Dawsonville. We've got about 50 some odd chickens and some goats, and we do a lot of gardening and homesteading. And I own a tractor, so I also run a tractor business where I'll hire myself out and do tractor work for people, brush hogging.
I think the timeout timer got you. Why don't you come back? You were talking about the tractor business and brush hogging and other things that you can do for people.
Yes, I can. Aside from brush hogging, we can. I do front end loader work and tilling and let's see, just ground clearing. I got a box blade so I can resurface driveways and move mulch and do all sorts of stuff. So it might turn into some type of landscaping gig down the line. We'll see how that goes.
Very interesting stuff. So lots of different capabilities. We do have a couple of real estate agents in the mix. We got one coming up here, Atlanta 911. If you ever engage in any work with Atlanta 911, I promise you'll never have more fun than working with 911. So good stuff, Drew. I'm glad to have you in here. And I think not a net counts, so we'll call this your second one. And got to give a lot of credit to the guys that just handle the show while I'm on the road. Appreciate everybody participating in the Not a Net and keeping things going when I can't be here. So good stuff, and looking forward to hearing from you again as we go. Stick around and check in often, and it'd be good to get to know you. Next on my list is Atlanta 739, Glenn in Canton. Glenn, you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, it's Glenn here. Yeah, it's kind of odd. I do home inspections also, so I've been doing that about since 2017. So we're doing mostly inspections for home buyers as soon as they put their offer in. Typically, their agent is giving out information, our information. And so we do them for buyers. We also do new homes and even pre-drywall. So we get in there before the drywall goes up, and then we get in there a second time right before the final walkthrough. We also do some light commercial inspections. So we don't do a lot of that. We've done maybe 5% that. So we've done some inspections down at some of them old buildings on Main Street in Woodstock. Couple of those. We've done a lot of inspections all through those condos and houses back behind the Ace Hardware there. So we do a lot around this area, but we also gone as far up as
I think your timeout timer got you, Glenn. We heard you talk about inspections behind the Ace Hardware, and then you go up as far as, and then we lost you. Are you there, Glenn? Yeah, I think the timeout timer got you.
Okay, yeah, it's a new radio. My last radio got in the van. It doesn't have a timeout, so. But yeah, I was saying, doing the home inspections, we do some light commercial also. So we've done some inspections down in downtown Woodstock, some of them buildings, and so mostly home inspections, new construction, pre-drywall, and do some pre-listing for people looking to sell their homes. So that's what we're doing.
All right. Well, good stuff. Yes, home inspections are an important thing so that you know what you're buying and that you don't get surprised by things after the fact. So we had a house in Fort Wayne that there was a fireplace listed on the house. And there, of course, there wasn't a fireplace, and we all knew that. But, the insurance company wanted to charge me a different rate because the house had a fireplace, even though the house didn't have a fireplace. It was just somebody had accidentally checked the box on a web page somewhere, and from that point on, the house was listed as having had a fireplace, and it took actually having an inspector come out to verify that there was no fireplace. So I had to pay for an inspection to be able to get the reduced rate on my insurance. So it was one of those things that, it's going to take 2 years to to get the money back, but then I'll have the money back for every year after that. So it just was aggravating. I was really upset with that. Couldn't get the agent to come out. He wouldn't come out and have a look at anything. Why am I paying? A premium that includes an agent's commission if I can't get any service out of the agent? Insurance just really ticks me off a lot of times. But in any case, that's a separate matter. But yeah, that home inspection stuff, and I imagine it's equally relevant on the commercial side. I don't have any experience with it on the commercial side, but I would think that some of the same things could come into play right there. So good stuff, Glenn. Glad to have you in here tonight. Next, I have Atlanta 1107, John in Marietta. John, do you have anything you'd like to share tonight? Atlanta 1107, John in Marietta. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show 1107 as in and out. When that's running long, and folks maybe can't stick around this long. I get it, but hope you come back next week, John, and hang out with us. Next on my list is Atlanta 486, Ben in Woodstock. Ben, do you have anything you'd like to share tonight? Any special skills or abilities that you have?
I'm retired, and currently I'm a full-time caregiver to my wife. We're getting ready for her surgery tomorrow. She has to have a vagus nerve stimulator put back in her. She has epilepsy. I'm basically full-time taking care of her. I was in medical media for 30 years after being a medic in the Army during Vietnam. But I got to go tonight, so I'm going to sign out. Atlanta 486, WROS 496. You guys have a good one. Thank you, Justin.
All right, Ben, thank you. I appreciate you hanging out for as long as you did, and understand that you've got to go. I'm going to go ahead and show you in and out on the log, so you'll be free to move on with things. So thanks again for that, and what a job to do, to be a full-time caregiver to your spouse. We should all be in it for the long haul, and that's a real tribute. That's something we should all be looking up to and looking at in terms of life goals. That if your spouse gets to the place where they need that kind of care, that you're willing to do that. A good friend of mine had spent very many years taking excellent care of his spouse, and finally they were able to get her into a nursing home. And she had been trying to get into the nursing home for a long time, because in the nursing home she has mobility, and she has interactions, she has the ability to socialize with people, whereas when she was at home, it was so much effort to get her just to get her around the house, because her house really wasn't equipped for somebody with those physical handicaps. And so just getting her around from her room to the bathroom and then back again, and it was a major undertaking, whereas at the nursing home those things are much easier to accomplish, and a lot of those things she was able to do without assistance, whereas at home she couldn't do those things without assistance. There's no way. So it was a huge advantage for her to be at the nursing home and in an environment that's better equipped for her particular needs. And she thrived in that environment. She became very socially active and organized different events with the residents at the home, and her quality of life improved tremendously in that environment. And my friend Denny was a little bit set back by that, because he'd been her full-time caregiver and the full-time breadwinner for a number of years, and it came to him that in that situation he wasn't doing his best at either of those roles. And so, you know, sometimes we have to recognize that there's more to it than we're capable of. But Ben, as long as you're capable of providing your spouse with the requirements and service and the assistance that she needs, man, way to go. That is great stuff. Proud of you. And, you know, these are the kind of people that I like to surround myself with, because these are the people that make me want to be a better person. So good stuff, Ben. With that, I'm going to move on to Chattanooga 100, Bob in Ringgold. Bob, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group? All right. Well, Bob may have been in and out. He often is, so I'm going to go ahead and mark him that way. And let's go ahead and move on to Chattanooga 109, Daniel in Chattanooga. Daniel, do you have anything for the group? All right, well, we are running long here, so I imagine that some folks have not had the endurance to stick around for the duration of the program. I get it, but we're going to keep on keeping on here, and we're going to check in with Atlanta 412, Scott in Roswell. Scott, do you have any talents, skills, or anything you want to share with the group? All right, let's go ahead and show Scott as in and out and move on to Atlanta 911. Cassandra in Woodstock. Cassandra, do you have anything you want to share with the group?
Good evening, everybody. I know it's a little late. And, you know, I checked in Woodstock, but I am actually at Cascade Gardens, so I'm in Ackworth tonight. And I guess, well, you know, I've been a realtor for 22 years now, and I do a number of other things for fun, but that's pretty much it. I'm always tackling something, and usually I'm calling on Justin or somebody because I get in over my head, and I think I'm more talented than I am, which I'm usually not. So I'll leave it at that. Back to you.
So the many titles that you carry, but you only want to mention the one.
Well, I could be here for an hour mentioning everything, and I just got back from the beach, and the friend I went with, that I traveled down with anyway, said, "Gee, what else have you done?" And you did that too? What else? So I started in hotel restaurant management, had a number of different little side gigs along that. Got into search and rescue, did some dispatching, all different aspects of restaurants, and lots of volunteers, dogs, transports, and now I do photography and gardening for fun. But my only job currently that I make money at, anyway, is the real estate.
Well, yeah, there we go. That's the more complete rundown. But you still left out the most exciting thing, and that is the Hollywood stunt car driver. So I don't know why you didn't want to mention that, but Cassandra is well known far and wide for her escapades behind the wheel. And every once in a while you'll see her roll up in a car with no dents. But in any case, thank you for all of that. And yes, Cassandra was our real estate agent when we first moved to Georgia. What an adventure that was. And this is someone who really, really worked hard to get us into the home that we're in. And, you know, the whole above and beyond thing is something that, you know, everybody has a job, but some people do their job and just get the job done. And other people do their job and accomplish things way beyond what the job is. And, you know, as Cassandra mentioned, all of the various things that she does, you know, these are all things that contribute to her skill set and her capabilities. And when it comes time to make a transaction as important as real estate, there isn't anybody else on the planet that I want in my corner. Every single real estate transaction that I'm involved in from this point forward, well, from the point that we bought this house forward, Cassandra will be involved in one way or another, most likely in the most significant way, but at a minimum as, you know, a consultant or as a friend or as a mentor. So I highly recommend that if you're going to engage in something as insane as real estate, that you do it with someone who is that insane to do it that well. So there you go. Thank you, Cassandra. Next on my list is Atlanta 1100 Joseph in East Point. Joseph was in and out tonight. Thank you, Joseph, for your check-in. Great to hear from you over there in East Point. Your radio is sounding fantastic. And I have next Atlanta 120 Connor in Canton. Connor, do you have anything you'd like to share with the group?
I'm going to start with this. I've been in law enforcement. Well, my current occupation is law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement for 5 years now. I started with Georgia State Patrol back in 2018, beginning of the year, and was a dispatcher with them. Then went to trooper school. And then after that, I left the State Patrol, and then now I am a deputy sheriff inside of a adult detention center. And let's just say that is probably the hardest job I've ever had in my entire life, from dealing with people of all walks of life, and I mean, and literally, and I can get in very much detail of what I've dealt with inside of that facility, but I'm just going to say is it can get very, very rough, very, very fast, and I can go on for hours and hours and hours about my job, my duties, but
Yeah, once again, I think the timeout timer got you, Connor, but we heard you say that you could go on for hours and hours about your day, and interesting stuff. I just, you know, that's not an environment that I have any knowledge or understanding in. So I guess when it comes to all of that, I'm uninformed. But yeah, tell us about that environment and what led you to pursue that as your career.
I've always wanted to be in law enforcement since I was a little kid. The environment is very, very different than you see working I'm in corrections right now. It's changed my perspective on Cherokee County, just in general. From I don't realize how much gang activities in Cherokee County, but Cherokee County has one of the most active gangs in the entire state of Georgia, with the exception of Fulton County. The gang activity is seriously concerning, but it's something that our supervisors, my apologies, I just think keep back up, and I'm on go right now, but the gang activity is being maintained right now and trying to be pushed out of the county, but it's just something I've learned just working in jail for 2 years now is a lot of people get that from jail are humans, and something I've learned is treat everyone like you would treat your mother and treat everyone with respect in the same way, because if you treat someone with respect, they have a heart and they'll come around to you. And I've seen people get in fights just because of the way that they talk to somebody. And it's very, very simple as that. Dealing with people who are mental health, or dealing with people who are just, they made a simple mistake. I mean, it can be anything at any given moment that can someone get arrested for.
Well, yeah, I think probably the two biggest things that I've taken from your comments are respect. It's something we lose sight of so quickly, but it is important. And no matter who you're dealing with, we should deal with them respectfully, because the second thing that you mentioned is mental health. And when you don't treat someone respectfully, if they have a mental health issue, we just heard about this thing in the news where this kid shot these two construction workers. One of them has passed away because they were making too much noise. Well, it turns out this kid that shot those guys, I heard them say that they think he's schizophrenic. We do a very poor job in this country of treating and dealing with mental health issues. I don't know what the solution is. It's beyond me. But I do know that as a country, that is one thing that we suck at. We do not address mental health issues well. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what country does it well. I just know that we don't. Maybe we're better than others. Maybe we're not. I don't have enough information to make that assessment. But from what I can see of this society, that is one big shortcoming that we have. And that's I think the best way to approach that problem is, as you pointed out, treat them with respect. And I think that that'll go a long way. A little bit of kindness and a little bit of compassion, I think, can turn a tumultuous situation into perhaps a moment of peace. So good stuff, Connor. Glad you made it into the net tonight. I did notice a messenger contact. I don't do messenger. So that is absolutely the worst possible way to reach out to me. It's not on my phone. I do see it sometimes when I'm at the computer, like I am right now, but I'm not going to respond on Messenger. So I'm not trying to come down on you. You're welcome to do that, but just know it could be days before I see your message. So there won't be a quick response. There probably won't be a response at all. So next time you have a question of that nature, the best way to get that question answered is to come on the air and ask. So good stuff, Connor. Glad you made it in here, and I look forward to hearing you on the net again next week. I don't have any idea what the topic is, but we'll figure something out. All right, and the last check-in I have is Atlanta 1140, Troy in Covington. Troy, do you want to talk about any particular skills or talents that you have?
Hey, Justin, this is Atlanta 120. I'll be in and out. I'm signing off for the night. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do appreciate it, man. Good night, man. And this will be Atlanta 120 WRW 267. Signing off. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, Connor. Have a good evening. Troy, are you in there? All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for any questions, comments, or any additional check-ins. We are running late, but we'll take this as long as we need to. So if anybody else would like to check in and chime in, net control standing by.
Justin, this is Atlanta 911.
Atlanta 911. Go ahead.
You get me 3 times tonight, but I was correct in what I texted you earlier. We didn't find anything else about him. And 2, please get with your wife and get me a date. And 3, I don't know if anybody else is on the net, but Julie's birthday was yesterday. I don't know if you guys mentioned that earlier. So a big North Georgia GMRS shout out to Julie. I know she's zonked out. But happy birthday.
Yes, it was a happy North Georgia GMRS birthday celebration here last night with steaks and salads. So we did enjoy the steak, but we had a healthy salad to go with it, and she enjoyed that very much. So Yes, birthday time. There's a lot of February birthdays. My birthday is coming up in a couple of weeks, and our anniversary is on Valentine's Day. So February is kind of a big deal around here. In years past, we would have a February birthday party here, and we would celebrate 6, 7, 8 people's February birthdays. We haven't done that for a couple of years. I'd like to start doing that again, but Julie is going to go visit Brittany on, I think she leaves on the 17th or the 18th. So anything that we're going to do would have to be after those dates, whenever she returns from that trip. So if you grab a date beyond her return, we could probably make that happen. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, we had talked about me hosting the February birthdays over here, but she was supposed to get me a date when she comes back. So I think she was getting with you and going to look at what, maybe a Saturday or Sunday that works for you guys, and then I'll reach out to the crew.
Ah, fantastic. I like that. Okay. So, all right then. We'll have to consider that tomorrow, because she's out like a light at this point. But all right. Anything else? Net Control standing by. Any late check-ins? Any questions or comments? Go ahead. All right. It looks like we picked up all of our late check-ins along the way. And sounds like everybody that wanted to get in is already in. So with that, I'm going to pause one more time, and then we're going to close this up. All right, this will conclude the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of 47 check-ins. Is that what it says? Let me put that up right there. 46 check-ins, including myself. Net Control will now be returning the repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Some of you already have. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your long-winded, won't shut up, and makes the net run too long net controller. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin, and I'm clear. Good night, YouTube.
434 WRKR 284. Justin, we love what you do. Thank you for doing the net every Thursday when you can, and even when you can't, we still love it. Thank you very much. I'll be clear.
All right, YouTube.
Atlanta 911 WRAS 515.
Let me see if I can fade the radio down. All right. Thanks a lot, YouTube, for sticking around tonight and tuning in. Had a great time, and look forward to doing this again very soon. I don't know how the next few weeks are going to look. We're going to be tearing the studio down. We're going to be moving it to another room on a temporary basis. I assume that we'll be in that room for 6 to 10 weeks. Once we move out of that room into the permanent facility, we will at that point be able to set up all of the video gear, all of the new video gear. We're still operating off of the old stuff today. So once we get into that mode and are able to operate off of the new video gear, we've got some great 4K cameras. We have this awesome high definition video switcher. We've got some improvements to our audio that I think will well, I think we have pretty decent audio now, but this should be even a little bit better. A little bit of compression, kind of squelch down some of those peaks and stuff, so it doesn't seem like it's so loud sometimes. And in any case, all of these things are coming, but they're coming slowly. And there's going to be some time where we don't have any video at all. So with that, I want to say we'll see you guys later, and hopefully see you soon. But it may be a little while. But we are coming back. No question about it. We've made an investment in the video that we intend to capitalize on. So whatever period of absence we have, know that that we have every intention of coming back on with the video side of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to sign off again. My name is Justin, WQIR 514, Atlanta 946, and I'm clear.